chat again. Just wanted to go ahead and give you an update. So I wanted to go ahead and just tell you guys right now that with doing a manual swap for your ZJ when you're in emissions-based state, things can get a little complicated with the smog requirements. So to go ahead and give you guys an example here, I actually have my smog test here because I had to actually pass emissions to register in California. And so here's what we have to look at here. They did 2 different tests, and normally with an automatic, they will run the first test in second gear and they will run the first test in second gear and they'll run the second test in third gear with the automatic. However, because I have changed mine to manual, the manual standards are different. They will do both passes in second gear. Now, normally, these numbers right here, they're right here at the very end, the 85 and the 385, according to how they explained it to me. Those measurements are usually going to be, or at least the second test, the measurements are going to be a lot lower than what this is. But the 385 is still only half of what the actual failing requirement is. So, in other words, both of these measurements, they still pass. You can do a 5-speed manual swap and pass emissions in California as long as your vehicle had passed emissions previously. If you have engine problems, then that's a different story. But as you guys can see, my Jeep, that's got almost 318 500 pretty much on it. Passed emissions with flying colors. I do have a new MagnaFlow catalytic converter on board, which also lets it breathe a little bit better versus standard, but it helped it pass smog as well. So on that note, you guys know what you got to do now for your smog check. And I'm actually out in the high desert right now. It's a nice 76 degrees outside, and I got my Jeep with the AC on, and that temp gauge is holding steady. I do have it cranked all the way down to low on the AC, by the way. I'm going to show you guys something I came up with here. Now, when you switch over to the NV3500 swap, like I have, if you have the towing package, you can delete the right in this area. There's an automatic transmission cooler here. It's an auxiliary cooler for the automatic. You can get rid of that because you no longer need it. And in place, what you can do is you can take 2 12-inch fans, one there, you got one right there, and you can actually put them in front of the AC condenser to help with cooling situations like I have. And I gotta tell you, these actually do work pretty well. I made my own harness, which I do need to finish installing, but I mean, overall, everything is keeping cool relatively fine. And since I'm actually moving out of this state here pretty soon, my next upgrade or changeover modification is going to be getting rid of that pesky EGR system in the back of that. My plan is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove that EGR tube that goes from the passenger exhaust manifold to the intake manifold. And by doing that, I think it's also going to help cool my engine a little bit more because A, I'm not recycling exhaust gases, but B, it's not preheating the exhaust manifold or the intake manifold as well, which, though it is aluminum, it does get pretty hot. And as you guys all know, the 5.2 has that pesky 2-piece intake manifold with that plenum at the bottom. I've already replaced my plenum gasket probably about a year or 2 years ago, I think now. But by getting rid of that EGR, that'll also help save that plenum gasket. So if you guys have the 5.2 V8 or the 5.9 V8, because you have a 98 CJ Limited, actually I take that back. 93 to 95 will only have the EGR tube. Starting at 96, they did away with the EGR system. So if you have a 93 to 95 Jeep Grand Cherokee CJ with the 5.2 liter V8 and you're not in an emission state, just yank that EGR tube right out of the back of the intake manifold and the side of the exhaust manifold, because it's not doing you any favors. And if anything, that'll probably actually let you run a little cooler on that temp gauge there too. But as you guys can see, all my vitals are looking pretty good. Tach is pretty responsive. And because I'm out here in the high desert, you know, it hasn't quite warmed up yet. It's still only 76 degrees, but I do have my AC on. You know, shifter's shifting, and everything else seems to be in check. So, just a quick update for you guys. But overall, the NV3500 appears to be a really good swap so far, and I don't have any complaints about it. The shifter is not half bad. I wish I could find a short throw shifter for it, but unfortunately they do not make one for the Dakota transmission as far as I'm aware. So I'm gonna makeshift my own, and I'm gonna show you guys what I do once I get around to doing that. So on that note, guys, talk to you later.